Good morning, welcome to Headline Focus here live on Core Politics with me, Rob Double. It is Tuesday the 19th of December 2017. Let's have a look at what's making the headlines. So to start off with, in the Metro newspaper today, they're covering a story about the gender pay gap in Whitehall, in particular across the civil service staff. Women are paid 16.9% less than their male counterparts, reportedly, according to the Metro, with the Department of Transport the worst offender and the Brexit Department a close second at 15.3% gender gap in pay. The Department of Transport says its figures were affected by a high proportion of women in lower paid roles at the DVLA in Swansea. And with civil service boss also saying, Sir Jeremy Hayward saying that he's committed to closing the gap in the foreseeable future. Next up, let's have a look at the Times. Very interesting story. They've got a Times investigation. Officers from Greater Manchester Police are being accused of taking bribes from associates of Paul Massey, otherwise known as the Salford's underworld's Mr. Big. He was murdered in Salford 2 years ago. Now, this refers specifically to Operation Holly, which was a £3.5 million and 5-year inquiry into one of Britain's most notorious crime gangs. It involved money laundering, fraud, tax offences, or at least an investigation into those things. It was centred on a security company for which Massey was a consultant. Now, this actually collapsed. It collapsed. The CPS, Crown Prosecution Service, didn't say or recommend that the force went to prosecute over these allegations because there wasn't evidence, and the evidence had been in some way botched or compromised by apparent or alleged corruption in the Times newspaper. Today, Greater Manchester Police responded by saying it has begun a conduct inquiry into the claims since the CPS's decision not to prosecute in June. Let's look in focus, though, at a big story, and this, I reckon, is going to get a few lines today. As you can see, it's in the Sun. Sun's got an exclusive. Navy's new £3.1 billion aircraft carrier is leaking. Now, this is referring to one of the Royal Navy's new aircraft carriers, HMS Queen Elizabeth, and they're saying that she has a pretty significant leak. Now, how significant? Apparently 200 litres of seawater is pouring into the ship every hour. It's caused by faulty seal, or that's reportedly the blame. It was commissioned earlier this month, so very new vessel, and it's the largest warship ever built by the Royal Navy, and capable of carrying up to 40 aircraft. One more story then comes from The Guardian. Now, as you can see here, Barnier tells May you won't get a special deal, Brexit deal for the city. Now, Michel Barnier, who's the EU's chief negotiator in the Brexit negotiations, has said a bespoke Brexit trade deal for the City of London is not on the cards. It is unavoidable, he says, that British banks and financial firms would lose the right to trade freely in the EU if the UK leaves the single market. This is a result, apparently, of the red lines Britain has chosen for itself. I'd be slightly sceptical about that. Again, The Guardian is covering it pretty much as Michel Barnier has said it. I would say give it a slight pinch of salt, and I'd suggest the EU is also putting up red lines it is putting for itself for Britain, so that they can get the best negotiations for themselves in these Brexit negotiations as well. That's pretty much it for today. You can find all the latest on what we're doing here on Core Politics on our Facebook page and Twitter. But from me and all the team here at Core London, have a fantastic start to your Tuesday.